What's up, y'all? Allie here, Richard here. If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to go hit that subscribe button to stay tapped in with Road Trippin' all season long. New episodes, they drop Tuesdays and Thursdays. You don't want to miss what we have in store. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, tell a friend to tell a friend. Road Trippin' is here. We're taking over.
Stop blaming us for what Perk says.
For the first time, the Memphis Grizzlies are entertaining offers to potentially move two-time All-Star Ja Morant ahead of the February 5th NBA trade deadline. Sources tell ESPN. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Channing, we didn't hear from you the other day. We'll start with you.
I think it's exciting for both teams. I think the Memphis needs to move on, right? I think, we're not getting the best version of Ja, obviously. We could say when you're not committed to the team or you feel like the team's not committed to you, it's hard to go out there and play your best. We've not seen it from people like Jimmy Butler or Anthony Davis or, I don't know, and Trae Young, anyone really asking to get traded. I think this season has been a real transitional season for a lot of players who are underperforming or have had an opportunity and realize that they're not that 1A. You can't win like that with these guys anymore. So they're getting new opportunities. So for me, hopefully, wherever Ja goes, he gets it somewhat right. We get the exciting Ja back, hopefully. Hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully there's a lot of hope. Hopefully he gets his act right. I think he's exciting. I think if he's going somewhere and he's not your 1A, I like him in that role. I like him not as your cultural leader where he's just going out there and playing and being exciting, where he's the Austin Reeves to a Luka. Hopefully he gets that opportunity. But other than that, this was bad in Memphis. I just think Memphis needs to restart. But yeah, that's about it.
Perk.
Go ahead, Rich.
No, you got it. You got it, Perk. You got it. Fix your
No,
thing.
you got it.
I don't have any opinion on the matter. I don't have an opinion.
What you mean?
Richard,
Okay, well, you guys continue to argue and fight who goes next. I'll give you some more context here. Multiple teams per Shams are pursuing Morant in trade talks, and rival executives believe the Grizzlies would prioritize draft picks and young players in return. Morant, 26, is under contract with the Grizzlies through the 27-28 season. Memphis is considering multiple paths forward amid the emergence of several promising young players, including building around them and 2023 Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson Jr. The Grizzlies also remain open to continuing on with Morant as a focal part of their retool.
You can't have it both ways.
I don't believe any of that.
Hey, guess what, y'all? We're here. Now, Richard, you and I had an argument last episode, but here's why I agree with you. This is where we have a real problem with American athletes, right? On and off the floor. So we just watched Trae Young get traded to the Wizards. By the way, the Wizards had to give up absolutely nothing. No picks, no nothing. That was basically a salary dump for Trae Young. That was a salary dump for the Atlanta Hawks, basically. We're talking about a guy whose career average is like 25 and 10. The only other two people in the history of the NBA that averaged more assists than Trae Young, averaged more assists for their career, is Magic Johnson and John Stockton. Okay? And you trade him away without getting any picks. Moving to Ja Morant. The Memphis, 3 years ago, we was just talking about Ja Morant being the face of the fucking league. Being the face of the league. And people, when we talk and we say, oh, hey, man, these European guys are coming in and they're taking over our league, they're not only taking over our league and setting the example on the floor, they're taking over our league and setting the example off the floor. Jokic, we don't have problems with him off the floor. Giannis, no problems with him off the floor. Luka, no problems whatsoever with him off the floor. But
Wemby.
Here we are with Wemby. But now it goes down the line. But now what's happening is we have so many in these next 3 to 4 years. They have so many franchise guys coming up through these drafts that teams are saying, I'm not fucking dealing with this bullshit. I'm not going to sit up here and have to max out a Ja Morant $200+ million and deal with this headache no more? When I can find me a promising young guy that's gonna be a culture builder that's in the upcoming draft, or I could build around the guys that I got, Jaren Jackson Jr., Coward. Now I will say this, I agree with Shannon that he do need to go somewhere where he's not the 1-8, right? I'm thinking Minnesota, maybe thinking Milwaukee might pull something pull a rabbit out the hat. You know what I'm saying? They may be acquiring, but at the end of the day, this is a warning. If Luka could get traded, anybody could get traded. And all I'm saying is that Ja has to be very, very careful at this point. This is the warning shot that, hey, bro, after this, if you do get traded, your next destination, boy, you better you better tread light. You better, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what it is. I'm just saying.
Does it show the value that Desmond Bane went for basically 5 picks and they gave away Trae Young, and we'll see what you get for Ja Morant? Think about what they gave up for OG Anunoby, what they gave up for Mikal Bridges, Drew Holiday, and you're telling me, yes, Trae Young is averaging these assists, but holy shit, how dry was that well that you had to call the Wizards and be like, what you got? They were like, well, we got, I got this for you. They go, we'll take it. Like, damn.
We're gonna get to that.
What is that?
And we're gonna get to
for your team.
And we're gonna get to the Trae news in just a minute. But first, before we move on, any reaction to the Ja?
Well, I'm not going to make it. Ja's a really talented player. He's in a tough situation. I look at this. If you look at through league history, players have been traded before. Great players. I know Luka is the most recent big name, but there's been surprise trades before. There's been different movement. I think a lot of times you look at the transition of a player moving on. J. Kidd was in Phoenix, great, gets traded to New Jersey, has 2 finals runs. The time moves on. Then they end up trading him to Dallas. So there can be a window of time where you move on where I don't think it's, I think the time in Memphis had long been over. And I think we're, firing your coach a month before the postseason, when your team's in the postseason, some of the things have seemed off. The amount of coaches that they've gone through in the last 7 years, even pre-Ja, right? You had Fizdale, you had Bickerstaff, you had Jaeger, you had so many different guys over the course of this stretch. So I look at more of the instability in their franchise. Yes, is the market changed? Can you give up 5 picks with the new second apron and all the different? Can you do those things what they did for Rudy Gobert? No. Is Trae Young somewhat of a complex figure to figure out? Can you put around him? How do you want to play? That's for Trae, but for Ja, it's he's proven, but he's got to get back to that level. And I truly believe this trade happens because they're like, are we going to offer them the extension? No, we're not going to offer them the extension. We're going to send them to some place where somebody most likely will. That's what it is. It's like Anthony Davis said he wasn't going to re-sign, so they had to trade him. And then he said, I'm only going here, so you better work out a deal there, because if you try and send me to Toronto, I'll do what Kawhi did. I'm going to play my 1 year out, and then I'm gone. So I don't look at this as some over-the-top thing. I think this is their contracts are up. Teams are saying hey, I think this has run its course. We've had a good 7-8 years, and before we sign you to an extension or lose you in free agency for nothing, we can't do that. So I don't look at this as some indictment. Trae has to play better defense. Ja, it feels like he needs to get a little bit more re-engaged and locked in. Both of them are ultra-talented all-star level players, but their contracts are up, and so teams have to figure out what to do in those spaces.
Richard, what would you give if you're a GM and your owner says, I like Ja, make it work? What are you giving up for Ja Morant right now?
Well, it depends on what my assets are. If you give me a team, it's do I believe that Ja's worth a first-round pick? Yes, I'm going to ask for a first-round pick for Ja from a standpoint of if he does turn it around, he's a first, second All-NBA type player. So, and he's still, 27 years old. So there's a lot of different things that I would still look for. I would take a young player, a young, talented player, and some draft capital. That's what I would try and get for him.
Okay. I don't know if I agree with you, but that's just,
What?
I don't want to bash the dude, but,
Man, Rich is he's so full of shit today, bro. Like real talk, you so full of shit. Like I think you want to bring this side of me up. Like I don't know why you on
Like
this
they're
bullshit today.
frozen
Like
on the screen, which makes it better.
you want to bring this side of me out. It's ridiculous, bro. You know good damn it well. You cannot compare when J Kidd got traded compared to what's been going on in Memphis with Ja Morant. That is ridiculous.
I'm
We're
just
talking
giving
about the
examples,
number
bro.
two.
I'm just giving examples. Oh, I'm just giving examples. What?
now I don't know. And here's the truth. Ja
Remember when Darren
questionable
Williams got traded
decisions.
from, was it Utah to the Nets? Do y'all remember that? Remember?
I know, but that was very different, Richard.
They're all different. Darren Williams was an all-NBA point guard.
That was Darren Williams and Jerry Sloan not seeing eye to eye. They chose Darren Williams over Jerry. Hear me out. But there was nothing going on with him outside the court. And Darren Williams is also one of the better guards in the leagues at the time. Ja Morant is not one of the better guards in the league right now. He is actually regressing instead of progressing. So you got a guy who history has shown has off-the-court issues, 2, gets coaches fired, and 3, is not getting better. So what are you giving up for this guy?
Okay, well then tell me what Ja. Okay, you just said all the bad things apparently about Ja. Tell me what is good about Ja. Tell me the upside about Ja. Tell me why you would want Ja on your team currently if you were trying to make a decision and what assets you would give up for him. Because we're not going to just sit here and be like, oh, he's X, Y, Z, this. And it's like, wait, there's another side to that coin of all the things that he is when he might be in a situation where they don't fire your coach like a month left to go in the season. That might affect like some of your energy. And like, yes, he, in my opinion,
Okay, he had no recollection of who if his coach being fired. He had nothing to do with it.
I'm talking about when they moved to the new system, when they started switching up, like the style of play started to adjust, and you started to see the energy change, and that means that it's time to possibly start looking for a better situation. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I don't gotta get fired.
I think there's only 2 or 3 places you could put him, and you would say I could try and maximize the best out of him. And the first place is Miami.
The crazy part is you go on this bullshit ass rant about kids pressing and playing full court man to man when they up by 30, and then you say that's the problem with American athletes. But you want to address the problem at hand that's going on in the NBA right now.
No. What I don't do. Okay, I'll let you finish.
Hold on. Time out. With a guy like Zion Williamson, who's on a non-guaranteed max contract, the first in NBA history. You want to address the fact that Trae Young just got traded for basically some fucking butt wipes and a box.
I'll address every one of these things. I'll address every one of these things. You
want to address that Ja Morant is 26 years old, meaning that he's knocking at the door of starting his prime, and the Memphis Grizzlies are basically saying you're not it. That is the problem. Those are
wait.
American.
I hear you, and I agree. And when I look at that, I don't look at just the bad. First of all, the league is still whatever percentage of American players. And while the individuals, Trae Young is an undersized point guard, right? That makes it a little bit more difficult on the defensive end. That's his issue. I don't know about inside the locker room, but he's also proven that he has elite capability. Zion Williamson, he's got his own issues. Ja Morant, he's got his own issues. But for every one of those guys, I can also point to an Evan Mobley. I can also point to a Jaren Jackson Jr. I can also point to a Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown. I can also point to a Donovan Mitchell. I can point to these guys that are upstanding, locked-in players trying to be the best version of themselves. So while you want to point to 2-3 guys and say, we have an American basketball problem, that's fine. You can frame it as that. But for every one, I can point to 3 or 4 dudes that are locked in trying to be the best version of themselves. right? I can point to an Austin Reeves that has elevated himself to a level. So it's like, I'm not going to just look at the negative and say, hey, we have a problem because of these 2-3 individuals that in any time period would have had issues doing what they're doing. Because I can point to enough players that are locked in. Now, as a whole, to get back to your point about USA basketball, the point that I was trying to make is this, is that other countries are training differently. We are monetizing and trying to play elite basketball before puberty and trying to make it seem like it's something to be impressed with when your 10-year-olds are the best versus teaching them high-level basketball IQ like they do over in Europe. So we can't keep looking at the Sheas and the Dylan Brooks in Canada and all how they're developing. They have as many people in the country as California does in this state. And they are developing basketball players because they have taken more of a European model with their structure. That is all I'm saying. So if you want to point to Zion, if you want to point to Ja, and you want to point to Ja, you want to point to other players, I can point to the Tatums and the Jaylen Browns and the Donovan Mitchells and the guys that are doing it the right way. There's enough of the guys.
Yes or no answer. Yes or no answer.
Told you how to address it.
Is Europeans taking over our game right now?
At the highest of levels, yes. At the mid to at the, let's say, the middle class to the lower
it was just
class,
yes or no. Yes or no. It wasn't. We didn't have to go in between. Yes or no. All right.
We're good.
Wait, answer my question. Yes
let
or
me
no?
answer my question.
Wait.
Let me answer your question.
What's your answer? Can I just for clarification, just for the community? What was your answer?
Yes.
They are? Okay. Okay,
Yes.
cool. But obviously, we're training killers at 12.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yeah, but
Channing?
Yes or no?
Channing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't even think it's close.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I don't think it's close.
At the highest level, yes.
I'm rolling with Perk's question, and he asked for just a yes or no.
Yeah,
So
fuck
yes.
what he asked for.
I do. I care what he asks for.